The desert world of Tharalon wasn't the kind of place you made jokes. It was a place of heat, hunger, and long silences. But after 3 months of trading water and spare parts among its nomadic tribes, I had grown desperate for some levity. I stood at the edge of a fire-lit circle, the flames throwing orange shadows across weather-worn faces. The tribe's people sat in silence, their long braids swaying with the wind, their pale eyes fixed on me. I had just brought them purified water, enough to last another 2 weeks. They had paid in gems mined from the desert's underbelly, and our negotiations had ended. So I leaned against a rock, dust blowing into my jacket, and half smirked. "All right then," I said, raising my voice over the crackle of the fire. "Who wants to journey with me? Cross the desert, cross the stars. Who's tired of sand in their boots?" The tribe's people glanced at one another, unreadable. I had meant it as a joke. No one left Tharalon. It was their prison and their home, both. But then she stood. She was taller than any human woman I'd ever seen, easily 7 feet, her frame muscled like sculpted iron yet graceful. Her skin shimmered faintly silver in the firelight, eyes burning violet with an intensity that pinned me where I stood. Across her back was strapped a blade nearly as long as my body. "I will go," she said. Her voice was steady, as though she'd been waiting for me to ask. Laughter murmured through the crowd, though it was uneasy. Someone muttered her name, Kaelira. The chieftain frowned. "You are sworn to protect us, Kaelira. You cannot leave." But Kaelira's eyes never left mine. He asked. "I accept." I realized my mouth had gone dry. I hadn't been joking anymore. Middle. We left the tribe at dawn. Kaelira carried little, her massive sword, a sack of dried meat, and a carved charm that hung around her neck. I had my rover, battered but functional, with half a tank of fuel and sand filters already clogged. She climbed into the passenger seat without a word, her presence nearly filling the cabin. 4 hours we drove across endless dunes, silence between us. Finally I asked, "Why do you say yes?" Kaelira looked out at the horizon, her jaw tight. "Because my blood has been wasted in one place too long. I was not born to guard water barrels. I was born to fight, to conquer, to see the stars." Her eyes flicked toward me. "And you? Why do you wander?" I thought of Earth long behind me, of wars that had hollowed out entire continents, of a home I no longer had. Because staying still feels like dying. For the first time Kaelira smiled, sharp, fierce. That night, we camped beneath shattered ruins half buried in sand. The structures were ancient, alien, humming faintly with energy. Kaelira told me her people believed the ruins belonged to the first ones, the builders of the great gates scattered across the galaxy. Gates that could leap you across the stars. We sat close to the fire. Her sword lay between us, gleaming. "You're not afraid of me?" she asked suddenly. I chuckled nervously. "Should I be?" Kaelira leaned closer. The firelight carved her features into something beautiful and dangerous. "Yes." The journey stretched on. We faced sandstorms that swallowed the horizon whole, scavenger raiders who tried to strip our rover for parts, and beasts that hunted by sound beneath the sands. Kaelira fought them all with terrifying grace, her sword singing through the air. Once, when a sand beast lunged from beneath the dunes, its maw lined with razors, Kaelira leapt directly into its jaws, driving her blade through its skull before it could close. She stood covered in steaming blood, breathing hard, her violet eyes blazing. "You're insane," I said, half in awe, half in terror. She only shrugged. "And yet we live." The further we traveled, the clearer her purpose became. Kaelira wasn't merely restless. She was searching. "There is a gate," she told me one night, her voice low, as if afraid the desert itself would hear. "Not far from here. Buried, broken. But if it can be awakened, it can take us away. To the stars. To war. To freedom." Her hand brushed the charm at her neck. "It is my birthright." I should have turned back then. But something about Kaelira, her fire, her defiance, her unyielding will, pulled me in. I wanted to see where her path led. Turning point. We found the gate at last. It loomed half buried in the sand, a colossal arch of black stone, runes carved deep into its surface. Time had worn it down, but energy still pulsed faintly within. As we approached, Kaelira knelt, pressing her palm to the runes. They flared with light, reacting to her touch. "It knows me," she whispered. Suddenly, shadows emerged from the dunes. Raiders, dozens of them, armed with plasma rifles and jagged blades. Their leader, a scarred man with teeth filed to points, grinned. "Been tracking you two for days," he sneered. "That gate's worth more than all the gems in Tharalon. Step aside." Kaelira rose slowly, drawing her sword. The air trembled around her. "You will not touch it," she growled. The raiders laughed. Then the battle began. Kaelira moved like a storm unleashed. Her blade cut arcs of violet fire, slicing through armor and bone alike. I fired my rifle from behind a fallen pillar, covering her flanks. Sand turned red beneath the onslaught. But the raiders kept coming. A blast struck Kaelira in the side, and she staggered, blood streaking her silver skin. Rage ignited in my chest. I charged forward, firing wildly, dragging her behind cover. "We can't hold them off," shouted. Her hand gripped my arm, strong despite the wound. "Activate the gate. Use the charm." She thrust the necklace into my hand. It pulsed with warmth, the carved symbols matching those on the arch. Bullets rained around us. I sprinted to the gate, pressing the charm into a hollow in its surface. The runes blazed, light searing across the desert. With a thunderous roar, the gate shuddered to life, a swirling vortex opening in its center. Kaelira rose, bloodied but unbroken, and unleashed a final war cry. Her blade cleaved through the raider leader, his body crumpling. The survivors fled into the dunes. Silence fell, broken only by the hum of the awakened gate. Ending. We stood before the portal, wind whipping around us. Kaelira leaned heavily on her sword, her wound seared shut with a makeshift bandage. "You did it," she said, her voice raw. "The gate is open." I stared into the swirling light. "Where does it lead?" Her lips curved into a fierce smile. "Everywhere. Anywhere." For a moment, we simply stood there, two wanderers bound by blood and fire. I realized then that my joke, spoken half out of boredom, had led me here, to a choice that could change everything. I could stay on Tharalon, scavenging, surviving, fading. Or I could step forward into the unknown, with a warrior woman whose spirit burned brighter than any star. Kaelira looked at me, eyes fierce but vulnerable. "Will you journey with me, truly?" I felt my chest tighten. I thought of her laughter, her fury, her strength. I thought of the battles we had fought side by side. I reached for her hand. Yes. Together we stepped into the light. The desert vanished, and the stars welcomed us.